are too.
Silly. What? Ha ha ha. Silly. What?
Hi, Brooklyn Sample.
Oh, hi, Mel. Well, welcome everybody to this episode of Moms Are Too.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Toot toot. Toot
Well,
toot.
okay, well, we have a really special guest this episode.
Yeah, we do.
If you've been listening to us since conception, bless you.
Yeah.
Or if you've heard our earlier episodes, you'll realize that around episode 22, we started to sound a little bit more legit.
I mean,
Look,
not
the
because
sound
of
quality. No, sound quality. Oh, all technical shit. Totally.
All post.
We are just awesome all the time.
I mean, yeah.
Well, the sound quality, our format, our topics, okay,
Yeah.
they've evolved into a pretty fucking professional show, I might add,
Yeah.
without compromising our raunchy selves, I think.
That's right.
And look, that's all thanks to our guest today, our producer, Rob Adler.
Yeah. Really, we're a fucking mess without him. We're a fucking
Look at
mess
us. He's not here right now, and we're all over the place.
Holy fuck. Well, let's get to him. What do you got to say?
Oh, we're just what we're going to talk to him about. We're going to talk to him about how he got into producing podcasts, and then he's got a bunch of other really exciting projects that have nothing to do with producing podcasts.
I thought you were going to say he has a bunch of other shit going on.
He does. He really does.
Though. It's good
Has
stuff, though.
Nothing to do with us. And you know what? That's fine, Rob. Just go off and
Rob has other friends? I'm uncomfortable with this. Yeah.
We'll talk.
And he's like getting fucking married and stuff. Like he has a girl in his life that isn't us and our potty mouths. Whatever.
He could care less. He spends like 2 hours on our show a week. And he's like,
I know, but he also is like
done with that.
Yeah. Fucking done with those bitches.
Let me get back to my real work.
I know. He really
Bless his
saves us,
heart.
though. Bless his heart. He really does save us, though. God, we're
He
so
does.
fucking
And
grateful.
as you can tell. And then now you're about to meet him.
Yay!
Should we just get into it? Let's just go into farting around with our producer and yours, Rob Adler.
Yay!
Farting around with friends.
Fart, fart, fart.
With friends.
Yeah. We do have someone on the show today, which is weird because we usually only speak in private out of our own shame. Brooke, you want to give us a little intro?
Yeah, this guy, I mean, we have spoken about him. We have uttered his name in great accolade. But on this Industry Insider segment, we have the owner of Brooklyn Frequency. He's a musician, a photographer, a podcast producer for many shows, including this one. And now a documentary film director, Mr. Rob Adler.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the show, Rob, the show that you listen to all of our nonsense every week.
No, not nonsense at all.
Not by choice.
No, 100% by choice.
100% by
and
choice.
happy to be here. Excited to be here. I was talking to Brooke last week. I think this is coming. It'll be coming up on a year that we've been working together. So it's high time.
That's crazy. What was our start date? Do you know our birthday?
I feel like it was. I think it was like August 1st. I think we did a clean start then.
Yeah, the August 2nd. The August 2nd episode is the one where the music changes.
Right.
And you know that Rob has entered the room.
Rob got his hands on us.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know.
Goodness.
I don't know about that music, guys. And it's such a polite way. So kind.
I mean,
That's the thing is he's very polite and he always like just kind of laughs off to the side and we know he's leaving the meeting and talking to his fiance like, oh fucking Jesus.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
absolutely not. That's all my other clients, but never you guys.
Oh, we will make them not listen, just like everyone else in the world, to this podcast, so that they don't hear that.
I mean, I'll cut it out. I'll cut it out.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got all that creative control there. I like
Rob
that.
makes us sound very good.
Minimal
Rob,
work. So go ahead.
Oh, listen to
Rob.
you. You're so nice. Rob's in Brooklyn, so he's on East Coast time, which is always very cool. And it's probably nicer there than it is here, which is always seemingly the case as well. But I want to hear about your history and how you got started, because I feel like there's a lot of people, my nephew actually included, who are getting into music, getting into the arts, and I don't think they understand the evolution of like where you can go and have so many avenues to choose from, and kind of you followed your string of where life left you. So how did you get started? What was your jam?
Yeah, so I'm pretty fortunate in that I am the son of a professional musician. So one, just had like a good role model. My dad's a classical trumpet player. But he also does a few other things. Excuse me.
Your mom's a lucky lady.
I mean, if you like trumpet being played for multiple hours a day, sure. I mean,
that's hilarious.
There's worse instruments. But the way I like to put it is my dad's studio was in the basement where it was the Midwest. That's where you hang out. That or the garage.
Oh, the Midwest. We're Midwesterners. Yeah. Tell everybody where you're from.
Suburbs of Minneapolis. Fridley, if that does for anything for anyone. Friendly Fridley.
Fridley?
Yeah.
What's it say?
Friendly Fridley.
Oh, I can see that in you.
Oh, well,
that's good.
Well, thank you.
You got good roots.
Yeah. But so his studio is downstairs. And the way I like to put it is we always had like a secondary soundtrack to any movie we were watching because he was always just practicing. So it was just a lot of competing sounds in the basement. But so...
Does your mom drink?
Wait, what?
She drinking? Does your mom drink at night?
No. She is upstairs. That's why I have the basement.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
with her headphones on.
God. That's why you can multitask because you're so used to having all of the
chaos
going on. You can multitask.
Honest to God, like I'll when me and my fiance first started dating, like I'd have like 3 things on between like I'd be like listening to a podcast, maybe be playing a video game, and then like something else might be going on, and she'd walk in and be like, "How is your head not exploding?" I'd be like, "What? It's fine. Like this is fine. I can pay attention to all of it." But yeah, so from like an early age, I was always going to my dad's concerts, and again, just hearing him play music in the house all the time. So I actually started off on trumpet, pretty quickly added in guitar. And
to get the chicks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Trumpet. I mean, if you're in middle school and high school, trumpet is like, okay, you're a trumpet player. I get it. You're in the band. But once you start the guitar, you're like, yeah, babies.
Yeah. No, figured it.
Is that how you were? Yeah.
Figured it might do something for me.
Yeah.
And
it has.
Maybe. It's gotten me some good grad school debt, but other than that,
oh gosh.
Lordy.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Just planting seeds for later talking points.
I'm on my 5th cup of coffee today. I know what you're thinking. Who has that much coffee? And someone should really talk to her about that. No, I'm here to tell you the Café Brustel. This is a secret blend of coffee beans, and they're not telling. Trust me, I've tried. This is high quality espresso style coffee with smooth flavor that provides me with all day energy and minor heart palpitations. It's all right, have a cup or 2 or 5 today.
Started playing guitar just to I really wanted to be in a band too in middle school. I was like, well, I got to play something. I don't even know why I chose guitar. I was just kind of
ska band. You could play be in a ska band with that trumpet.
There was actually some that was actually one of the goals to do like a ska band. We were like when I was in middle school, it was like the tail end of ska kind of the ska wave, I guess we can call it.
Yeah.
Goldfinger and Real Big Fish.
Yeah.
And I was into all that. I loved it.
For sure.
I don't know any of that.
It's good. Well, we'll send you a playlist later.
Okay. Or you can just play me some ska on your trumpet.
Not so good at trumpet anymore, but yeah, so started playing guitar, really got into it, and then actually got into once college was approaching, was trying to figure out like a program that I could do and have a career in music. And my dad also does music engraving, which is like doing basically page layout for published music, right? So if a composer writes the music, they don't necessarily know how to make it like publishable, right? Or look publishable like on the page, right? So same thing, like if a author writes a book, they have to do the actual page layout, right? And pagination and
format
all that
for print.
Exactly. And there's so many weird,
cool.
obscure rules with music publishing.
Yeah,
in
I
particular.
can understand
But so he was him and my mom both were very keen to recommend I do something other than just like performance. Get like
that.
you can practice an instrument, and I'm like, you don't need a degree to play an instrument, right? So they recommended I find something else, and I got
to fall back on,
or just to supplement, right? Like you can do the music thing, but you want to you want some other skills too, because there's very few people that can just be performers, right?
But that's the thing. That's really good advice. Like, even if you really want to write music or whatever, like you want to play an instrument and be in a band and be a performer, going to school for that is you can practice that. You can get better. You can private coaches for that. But going and learning these skills that surround that thing so you can actually evolve, that's huge. That's really good advice.
Yeah. And no, totally. So I ended up going to University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh. If Oshkosh Bagosh, same town.
Now I'm picturing you in the overalls.
Yes,
totally.
Oh, there's
a bowl cut.
Oh, more of a mullet.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Yes,
pretty great.
Is it curly?
Oh yeah, and blonde too. I had a blonde mullet.
Oh my god, we need.
Did you have stair steps?
Ooh, no, I don't think so.
Oh, right.
This needs to be your promo shot.
I mean,
sure.
it's.
You can find a photo.
I got one.
Photoshop.
I got one.
We'll just Photoshop of it. Yeah,
we'll throw it in. It'll be. I've been racking my brain trying to think of where I might have a headshot, but we're using 3-year-old me with a mullet. And
that's amazing. Honestly, okay.
It'll be good.
All right, so mullets and overalls.
Mullets and
you're
overalls.
In college.
Well, mullets to overalls to college. That's the progression.
Oh, that's the progression.
Right,
okay.
Right.
Oh, the evolution. See,
sure.
There's always an evolution. All right, so you're in college in Oshkosh.
Yeah, so I'm there for recording technology, which is just like studio recording. Really, really awesome program. Had some really great professors who they just cared a lot. It was a really good experience at the university. I did not care for the town or the state much. But the really cool thing about Oshkosh is it was in the middle of nowhere, and by that I mean it's 4 hours to Milwaukee, Madison, Minneapolis, St. Paul, 5 or 6 to Chicago. So I would just go to as many concerts. I would get the hell out of Oshkosh every weekend. Go to concerts, just try and see as much music as I could. So it was, overall at the time I didn't love being there, but I did really love the program, and learned a ton. Did you get used to like the studio a lot while you were in there and everything, or was it okay? Good. Yeah. So you there's, you have to do different projects. They have a full recording studio. The really cool thing is too, it was hooked up to the rest of the music building. So they had inputs, in like the concert hall. So you could do, just your traditional studio recording, or you could like record in a lot of these different cool acoustic spaces, which was cool. Pretty wild.
And you were still pursuing guitar at that time through the college as well?
Yeah. So to get into Oshkosh, even though it was a recording program, you did have to audition on an instrument. And at the time, you could only do classical guitar, which I knew of. So in about 11th grade, and that's the way a lot of 4-year recording programs were at the time, probably still are to some degree. Excuse me.
Cough.
And So I started picking up classical guitar, which, and my dad's a classical musician, so I'd been playing guitar for years at that point, but it came to me really easily. I found more than like other styles, just because I think I'd had so much exposure to that music.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, literally, and really picked it up quickly and started really enjoying it. And my freshman year, I actually did an internship at a studio in Minneapolis, and it was one of the owners was Bobby Z, who was Prince's drummer in the Revolution, I believe. Nice dude, but I didn't see him much. I got to work with his brother on a session, David Z, who was the engineer for Purple Rain, the album. So like,
I was gonna say, because he's from Minneapolis, right?
Yes.
Prince was from.
Yeah. So like getting to, yeah, it was huge.
Minnesota.
It was huge getting to work there. But I found I did not like working in a studio. At the time, the music scene in Minneapolis still it's always had a great music scene, but it's
really,
yeah, oh yeah,
that's not something talked about often.
I mean, we got Prince,
Minnesota's music scene,
Prince, Lizzo, Husker Du. There's like a lot of,
that's true, yeah,
a lot of great artists that have come out of there. And the thing, at least at the time, is it's a great music scene, but people don't always, go beyond. Though there's again some really great.
Same
examples.
with Indianapolis. Like, I'm from Indianapolis, and the music scene there is incredible. Not to say that so many artists have come out of Indianapolis, but the music that locals are putting on and sharing, and the bands and artists that they are bringing in is really incredible. Like jazz and blues and all that. So yeah, I guess we just can't discount these smaller Midwestern towns.
Yeah,
that's true.
Prince also, he was alive at the time when I was there, though I never saw him. But like, he has Paisley Park, which is multi-million-dollar complex where touring artists will go to they'll rehearse their touring show there before they actually tour it. Also, a huge studio there. So, and Prince had moved. He was in LA for a while, but he always still had a presence in Minneapolis, and really bolstered that community just from continuing to work there and put studios there and stuff. Did this internship at the studio and found I just really didn't like it that much. A lot of the artists working there at the time were it was a lot of high school bands and stuff. I was just I don't know if I want to be I don't know. I had other ideas for this. So I leaned more into the classical guitar at that point, and started practicing a ton. I was going to, again, a ton of classical guitar international artists performances, all throughout the Midwest, doing lessons with them. So again, really good opportunities there. And I really went hard at the classical guitar. Still finished my degree in recording, again, just to have that skill set. I remember at the time talking to my parents I just want to do a performance major and totally switch. They're like, no, don't do that, just you can do both.
Stay the course.
Yes.
Stay the
and
course. That's hard.
very glad I did, just because that's primarily what I'm doing now. I'm not doing a ton of classical guitar. But yeah, to speed it up.
Work with anybody in Ohio for classical guitar?
So there's
Just curious.
No, but there's a really one of the top performers is out there. Gosh, I'm blanking on the name of the conservatory, but Jason Vio.
Okay, because I knew in high school Cleveland has a very good, obviously music scene, but yeah, I know. Anyway, that's interesting. Wouldn't that be so funny if we knew the same people?
I mean, we can just keep going down the list of names.
So that would be even weird if you knew somebody that I slept with.
I mean,
anyway.
Who knows?
I mean, probably. You're into the comedy scene too, so no,
True.
I never slept with comics. That's actually not true.
That's good life advice too, right?
It really is.
Don't sleep with comics. Yeah.
I like working with them though. I'll say that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So then, so you ended up getting your master's though, right? You went to graduate school
for classical guitar, and that's how I ended up here in New York City. So
where'd you go?
Manhattan School of Music, which it sounds like a great community college, but it's a smaller conservatory. Has a lot of the same professors as Juilliard. The way I like to describe it is like Juilliard's here. They got really good PR department, really good marketing. The Manhattan School of Music's like right
Isn't
here.
that funny? So Pasadena City College out here, because we're right next to Caltech and JPL. Like my astronomy teacher, I took like an astronomy class, and he teaches at Caltech and he works at JPL. So it's crazy when you're at least in that, realm or in that same, center of where these professionals are not only teaching at the school, but then you go to a school where you're not paying as much money and you're getting the same teachers. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
really
the thing
smart.
was, I was still paying like Juilliard money. So private. So that's the thing. Kind of like talking about giving advice to people who are kind of considering these paths. My undergrad was a state school, pretty inexpensive comparatively. And even though it was like out of state, Minnesota and Wisconsin, like I forget what it's called, but like they'll charge you in-state tuition. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one of those like kind of nice deals as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I went to Manhattan School of Music. It's pretty expensive. There's talks about that with my parents. There's like, hey, if you want to do this, like it's going to have an impact on the rest of your life financially, just with how much it costs. And I was like, it's fine. I'm living the dream. Part of it was I really wanted to go there. That's actually the school my dad went to for undergrad. And I really love New York, like more than getting into grad school. Like I wanted to have a career here in the city. So that was a way to do that.
And I think it's connections you make too. And this is what I tell my kids. It's like, I'm not so interested because my husband didn't go to college. And so my kids are like, ooh, and they're not school people. So they're like, Dad didn't go to college. And I'm like, yeah, but your dad kind of wishes he had that experience for one. And for two, like I'm telling you to go for the connections that you're going to make, especially in the entertainment industry or really any industry that you're in. Try to look at college more as like a networking as well as some of, some educational things that you may not have found nuances in on your own. Right. But when it's kind of forced on you, you can put that in your toolbox for later, but not so much as like a job, like you have to go to college to get a job, right? More so the connections. And did you feel moving into that kind of a hub, especially with being around, like musicians that are serious, and because it's more of like not technical, but it's a focused school.
Yeah, I don't think technical is totally inaccurate because it was a performance degree, right? Like I'm not doing research. Like it was very, focused on getting better at playing guitar. There's history classes and stuff like that too. Some composition things. But
good to have in your toolbox, right?
Yes,
so that you can have conversations with people or kind of understand where all that came from. And
and it to your point, I didn't totally grasp that at that aspect of developing like community while you're someplace. So like I was there. I think if I like, aside from maybe reassessing whether I went to that graduate program or not, and just in terms again of like the financial end of it, if I did it over, I'd put more focus on fostering those relationships and focusing on that part versus like just focusing on playing. And then also I moved to the city and like I knew I had to get a job to make it work, right? Like I had loans, but like those loan payments are going to hit this almost the second you graduate. You have like I think it's a few months, but it's just like to make sure I can like stay here, I gotta work. So it was, if I wasn't practicing, I was working, which did. So I worked at this place called New York City Guitar School. Just got a job answering the phones, and then worked my way up. It's where I worked for 12 years until I went full-time freelance. gosh, what?
Which was right after you started with us.
Yes, yeah, and I think it was October or November. Cool. So yeah, that worked out pretty well in terms of like finding a job and being able to grow somewhere. And yeah, when I moved here, I I walked up and down. I lived on the Upper West Side, 108 and Broadway when I first moved here. I just walked up and down each avenue a different day, like dropping off resumes at restaurants, trying to get something. And I had like zero restaurant experience, which not a good way to try a job in New York.
Not in New York. Yeah. Those people are career.
Yes.
They're lifers. Yeah.
For sure. And I was like ready to give up, and then I found listing at a guitar school on Craigslist, and I was like, we're gonna make this work.
You should do a little hand typey.
Well, it's just great how you went from I'm going foot on foot, each one I'm shaking hands, and then I went on Craigslist and I found my job.
Yeah, no, it was nice not to have to hit another 30 blocks of an avenue.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
cool, though. You hit the ground. You literally hit the ground and were digging out to try to get a job.
Oh yeah. No, I remember I went to one restaurant. It was like a pub in the 70s and 70s off like Amsterdam, and went and talked to the host, and she's like, yeah, the owner's outside. You can go talk to him. And it was like maybe 10, and he looked like he'd been probably up all night and just kind of like sitting here. It's like, excuse me, sir.
You're like all bright and
yes.
novice.
And he just slowly looked up to me as like, wow, you're really fresh off the boat, aren't you? I was like, yes, sir. Well, nice to meet you. Yes. I didn't book it.
And I can do a little dance.
Yeah.
No, but he assessed the situation correctly, for sure.
That was like when I moved out to LA, and I'd been bartending and serving and like been a trainer and opened stores, and like I thought like I can get a job anywhere. And I remember I came to Pasadena and I went into this bar in Old Town called the 35er, and I walked up to the bartender and I was like, hey, you guys have any openings for bartenders? And she was like, yeah, when one of us dies. And I was like, great, well, I'll be seeing you. Thanks. Okay. Don't wish that upon anybody, but let me know.
Let me know if anybody dies in the building.
Just check those obits.
Yeah, that's not easy. Actually, in LA, now everything's often done online, but you have to have a headshot. So you have to get it, you get a serving job with a headshot, which is grody, but yeah, really good. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this new thing that we found. Is called Moonlite. It's amazing. We're still reading to our kids at night, and I can be honest with you, sometimes it's tedious because we're reading the same book over and over and over and over. Well, let me tell you, Moonlite is incredible. The magic of Moonlite is simple. It's the experience of reading together with a projection on the wall, because tablets, yes, are a staple for many families, and digital books can be overstimulating sometimes for little kids, and honestly, they leave little room for imagination. But Moonlite bridges the gap between traditional and digital books. There are playful projections, vivid sound effects, and read-along features make this multi-sensory storytime a delight. Moonlite is here to help you create imagination-filled, interactive bedtimes for your whole family and make storytime magical again. Use the code Moonlight10 with our link to get an extra 10% off your purchase. It's very cool. All right, so you graduated, then you started working and you were teaching at the school, and first answering phones and then teaching and stuff. How did you start with the podcast world, and was it the audio part, or how did that happen? How was that evolution for you?
Yeah, so gosh, probably all throughout that time, I was still doing audio projects, primarily in the classical realm, just doing recordings for other classical guitarists, and similar to now. The way I book a lot of work is people don't like editing, and I like it. I love editing.
Yeah.
So I was working just with a lot of classical guitarists. It's a really finicky instrument to record. It's nail sounds and string sounds, and it's a nightmare if you're editing yourself. It really quickly becomes not fun.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that. And then I think like 6 years ago, I always liked video and doing video recording, but I was just like, I'm gonna like try and figure this out. And was living with some roommates at the time who worked in the film industry. So like, I was gonna say they gave me advice, but it was more jabbing comments. So like they like, oh, show me your video. I'm like, all right, and be like, oh, dude, your lighting sucks. You gotta work on that. But like very valuable jabs, I'll say. It's just like, oh, I didn't even think about lighting. Oh, okay, let's learn that, I guess. And just kind of developed those skills. Started doing a little bit of video production, again, more for just classical guitarists, and it kind of expanded from there, where I was just trying to add in more different kinds of projects, still all music. One of my first bigger projects was doing a rooftop music video shoot for a hair metal band out in Queens, in Long Island City. Yeah, so like really just tried to kind of add more arrows to the quiver, as they say. And
were you like a complete package? Were you like, I can do the video, I can edit the video, I can do the audio, like I can.
Yeah, so like and that's really kind of how I was trying to develop myself. One man band kind of thing. Like I can score it if it's an interview and you need music. I can do all the editing, lighting, tech, all. It's a lot of work, and I love doing all of it. And now I'm kind of segmenting into more. I'm doing one thing for specific clients. There's a little lets me breathe a little bit more. So. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so with starting Brooklyn Frequency, which is your company, and they're kind of housing all these facets of production.
Yeah, and it's, again, I kind of have split it into really just two distinct categories, which is podcast production, which has become a big part of what I'm doing now, editing and all that, and then like video production, which again is more on the music side of things or album side of things. Like I just helped a good buddy named Jim Search put out a comedy album, which we did a vinyl, CD, cassette, tape, and digital release for. So it's either like it's music or again like album focused, I guess is a better way to put it.
That's great. So you took your passion for music, and what's great too is that you already have the language. You have you can have conversations not only from a tech standpoint but from an artistic standpoint, which I think is extremely important. And you've added it into now, so this is crazy. So I want to get to that, but I do want to talk about, so how many podcasts right now are you producing?
Yeah, so but producing and editing.
The best one that you're on right now.
Yes. I mean, this is the one I'm working with the most.
Oh, cool.
That's just because we require the most work.
No,
exactly.
That's
so.
Rob,
and this can,
yeah.
You guys are doing good. So I'm working on a little show called Mom's Art 2. Great show. Check it out. Working on former guest of yours, Rob Schulte's show, Bill and Rob's. Also through Rob's, I'm working on, it just launched a couple weeks ago. It's called The World Needs Nerds, which is through the LA Comic Con show on the Sonar Network. What is that, 4? I also work on, I feel like I'm blanking on, I know I got one or two more. I just I actually just edited a couple episodes for Rob, but that's not a regular thing.
Vanderpump Robs. Anyways,
Vanderpump
if you're
Robs,
into Vanderpump Rules.
Even if you're not into Vanderpump Rules.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And then I occasionally work on a couple of Star Trek shows, podcasts, Greatest Trek and Greatest Gen. And more routinely, I edit YouTube videos for them about once a month. But I also have edited their bonus podcast, which is reviewing Cheesecake Factory, one item off the menu at a time.
Well, yeah,
Fun fact.
you're going to have a podcast for years.
Forever.
Yeah, for sure.
They will never run out of material.
My husband has he can't even focus on that menu. He just wants to throw it across the room.
He needs to listen to the podcast, and he can every time go in and order that one thing from that week.
Hilarious.
That's a really good idea.
So you're doing so you have some connection with comedians as well. Is that through the podcast world or?
Yeah, it's kind of not actually. So, or I guess it is in that I was a fan of my friend Jim's show before I even met him. He had a hip hop review podcast called Swatches and Boomboxes.
And what's his name?
And I knew
Jim
Search.
Jim
Search. Search as in spelled
like search bar.
Got it.
Yep. And so we had this show called Swatches and Boomboxes, hip hop show, just kind of reviewing albums mostly from like the 90s. And he lives here in Brooklyn. We both still go to this really cool bar called Beer Wax here in Brooklyn. There's also one in Queens, which is where we had our premiere for our documentary. And it's a craft beer bar, but also they've got vinyl all over the back of the bar, not just in frames, they have vinyl stacks, right? So they're always spinning records. They'll have DJs come in, vinyl DJs who do sets all the time.
That's
and it's
yeah. He does that.
And it's but it's a lot of those 90s 2000s hip hop artists, they're still in Brooklyn, they're still around. So they'll get people like LP will swing by from Run the Jewels.
Yeah. Freaking love Run the Jewels.
Very cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So how
DJ
did
Evil D will show up. Go ahead.
How did you transition into what happened with the documentary thing?
Yeah, so being a fan of Jim's podcast, one day on Instagram he posted hey, I'm gonna try and record an album. If anyone knows how to do live audio, let me know. And this was at a time where I was trying to make moves to be full-time freelance. I was I like this guy's stuff and I want to do that. So I just shot him a message. We met up at the bar that we ended up recording it at. Really hit it off and made plans to record the album. And the documentary was originally just going to be we should I have 1,000 cameras, I can shoot stuff, let's just shoot just a little bit, maybe we'll have 5-10 minutes we can use just for some social media clips just to help promote the album. He's great, let's do it. I have a space down in Dumbo that I use with another musician, and then I use for that kind of thing. So we go down there, and turns out he's a comedian. He's great on camera. so yeah, we went down to my space and we recorded. I interviewed him for 45 minutes, just a talking head kind of thing. And I was Jim, we can use all of this. You were really, really good on camera. Not, really good answers. Not a lot of stuttering or coughing or anything. And so we I kind of figured out just some ideas for getting some good B-roll and some ways to kind of pad out the full interview. And the album itself is kind of about him having grown up in upstate New York in this town called Binghamton. I want to say it's 2-3 hours west of New York City, so kind of a little bit up and just straight over. And it's about growing up in that town and then moving to Brooklyn, living there and becoming a comedian, right? And looking at things through this upstate lens. So I interviewed him kind of about that and his experiences. We went out to Binghamton for a day, shot just him kind of walking around town. And then we did a day here in Brooklyn, and threw it all together, threw in some fun little special effects, some video effects, and yeah, it just really came together really nicely, really well. We just had our premiere on this past Sunday
How'd it go?
out at Beer Wax Queens. It went great. It was really great. A lot of fun, good turnout, good response. It's very nice to Jim was talking with Jim, and he's saying like, oh wow, like I'm used to being on stage but not like being vulnerable. Like, he's like he told some jokes in it, but like it was an interview about his life. And it was nice to have confirmation of what I've had known for, these 8 months to a year working on this project. Just like, he's good on camera. It's like a good interview.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to have an audience react to that. I had some like, editing jokes, or like I edited things to like be funny, and it's like good to have people laugh at those moments.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What's it called?
Yes. It's called Understanding Upstate. And the album is called Upstate Understanding. So it's
so the album, not the documentary, but the album that you helped him complete package, that's stand up, or what is that? Okay, so that's his stand up. And so you did the audio for that, right?
Yeah.
And then
recorded, edited. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
That's very cool.
And so you've submitted this to some festivals.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got it submitted to 5 festivals here in the city. We start finding out rather, if we got accepted in like 8 days for the first festival, and then it's kind of trailing through the fall. So we're hoping we'll have a few more dates to share it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Cool. How did that feel directing all of that? And I mean, this was like your first bigger video production, correct? And how do you feel about that?
I feel good. It and definitely one of my like longer productions too. Like I just try and work quickly, still like do good work, of course, but like I like to hit before deadlines, right? So someone's like, you got 3 weeks to do it. I try and hit in a week and a half if I can.
Oh,
right?
I'm such the opposite. You're so cute.
I try at least.
Well, because we don't give them his material until the day before it's due.
Exactly. Nah. Like I sat literally 5 minutes before this and wrote out our intros and all of that.
Hey, look, I'm going to have the audio for this well in advance.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, what else do you have going on? What's next? What's next for you, Rob?
So I'm going to be releasing an album of my own music on August 4th.
Yay!
Where can everybody hear your classical guitar? You're so classic.
It's not classical guitar.
So
it's
it's
all it's more close to that. It's all instrumental, but basically the idea is there's kind of 2 ideas behind it. One, it's music that like theoretically could be sampled, right? So it's very much.
I was just thinking that. I was like, "Ooh, Kai, you and Kai could collaborate and like make a
really
beat.
Good idea."
Oh, totally. Kai stuff is fantastic. But yeah, it's called New York Sticky. It's basically like a soundtrack for walking around the city on a hot day. So that's why it's coming.
I was totally thinking of
in August.
I was thinking of Sticky Hot.
I mean, that works too.
That's
for
awesome.
Sure.
Oh my God, you're so talented. And most of it you get done out of your house, which is incredible.
Yeah, I got a lovely office.
Are we going to be able to hear this music on Spotify and all of the things?
I'm not doing Spotify, but I am going to do a band.
I mean, just kidding.
Yes, absolutely. Snoop Dogg's got the right take on it right now. But yeah, I'm going to do a Bandcamp release. I don't think I'm going to do a physical release, but I'll do digital downloads. It's up for pre-sale right now. If you just go to brooklynfrequency.bandcamp.com or brooklynfrequency.com, I've got links for it up there as well.
Yay!
That's crazy. And then when might we see the documentary? When?
So yeah, right now, since it's submitted to festivals, like pretty much all the ones we submitted to, you can't have it up for streaming yet.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be a little while there. So probably sometime in the fall.
Unless you're in an area where the festival is located.
Wait, what?
Unless you're living in an area where the festival is located. So you'll have to tell us.
If you're in New York City yeah, they're all New York City. All kind of throughout the actually, yeah, we got Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan festivals that we submitted to. So totally, I'll keep you guys
This
posted.
is so exciting. Okay, well, Rob, you're gonna put all the links and stuff and all of for your
Can you
things.
do that
Absolutely.
for us? Can you put all your links
Yeah,
in there for
I'm on
us?
it.
Oh wait, do you have something to tell us?
Moms are too.
Got something to tell ya right now.
Today.
Oh.
The founder of Little Caesars, the pizza juggernaut,
Pizza.
paid for Rosa Parks' rent in her later life because she moved to Detroit and fell on hard times, and just the Little Caesars guy stepped in. So
I heard that.
That's all I got.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And I wonder why this is what, like, I was out to dinner with family. We were talking about like reparations and stuff, which is never really a good idea, but we were. And we were talking, like, how is Rosa Parks not just being taken care of for the rest of her life? Like, people that are in the military and have to go into combat, how are they not taken care of? Like, Rosa Parks should have been living fucking the high life for the rest of her life.
Yeah, no, the backstory was she, like, because of everything that happened with the bus, her and her husband both lost their jobs in Alabama, so they moved to Detroit and then worked in nonprofit, trying to make things better for people, and just didn't. Not a lot of money in nonprofit now, certainly not back then.
Right.
And yeah, then
there's a reason it's called nonprofit.
It's true.
Well, I have a little connection to Rosa Parks.
You do? Are you related to
yeah.
her?
We have the same birthday.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, well, that makes sense. You're a leader.
You don't want to know who I have the same birthday as. It's on the opposite end.
Yes. Well, now we do. We have
the spectrum.
That's who I thought.
A modern.
My brother's is Hitler.
It's Donald Trump. But also Burl Ives. So I feel like,
I feel like the pendulum moved way further with the Burl Ives. I think we should go that route.
For sure.
You are the sweet spot.
There we go.
On that pendulum.
I mean, I don't want to be the sweet spot on that pendulum. I want to be further towards Burl Ives.
Yeah. Oh my
Burl
God.
Vibes.
Ooh, that's a good DJ name. I'm writing that down. I need a
Burl Ives Vibes.
Burl Ives Vibes.
Just Burl Vibes.
It's hard to say.
Burl Vibes.
Juror.
Oh, so we'll just use that as like a warm up for actors.
There you go.
Burl's Eyes Vibes. Burl's Eyes Vibes.
Burl's Eyes Vibes.
Moms are too.